Welcome to the Roots and Rhythm podcast, where we explore the essence of culture, our experiences, and a healing journey that shapes our growth in family. Through heartfelt stories about marriage, mental health, relationships, and parenting, we create a space where you can find connection, understanding, and inspiration. Join us as we explore the rhythms of life, one story at a time.
What is going on, everybody? Yes, welcome to another episode of the Roots and Rhythm podcast, where we explore the rhythms of life, one story at a time. It's your boy, Vlad the Bull, your number one embrace coach, and I'm joined by my lovely co-host, the one and only
Angie, La Cyber Mommy.
La Cyber Mommy is in the building. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Listen, it is a great, special time of the year right now.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because it is back to school
It's back
season.
to school, baby.
So why don't you tell us what's going on in your household with your little girls?
Yes, so Alana starts kindergarten next week.
Wow.
So we went on our shopping spree yesterday. We took her to the mall. We took her to lunch. We took her to dinner. It was just like a day of us. And it was wonderful. And the reason we wanted to do that is because my dad used to do that with us. So my dad, I got an OAD. Do you know what that is?
That was OAD.
An old ass daddy. And he was very particular and meticulous. So we only went shopping at the Westland Mall. If you know, you know. Shout out 305.
305 in the building.
Yep. So we had to go to the Westland Mall, and he let us loose, me and my sisters, in Sears, probably because he had a Sears credit card.
Oh.
And that was his favorite store. That's what he got all his guayaberas.
That was a big deal back in the day, Sears credit card. You used to be able to buy homes at Sears.
Homes? I know
a
like
whole house.
appliances.
You could buy a whole house at Sears. Sears will build a whole house for you.
Sears was the place. My dad freaking loved Sears. So we always, it doesn't matter where we lived in Florida, we always went to Miami, to Westland Mall, and that's where he liked to shop. And that's where he went to Bank of America too. The bank had to be there because he knew the tellers. We're not going to the bank in Belgrade. We had to go on Saturdays. Anyway, so we go, he let us loose in Sears, and he's like, meet me back here in an hour with whatever you want. The only caveat was we could only get 2 pairs of tennis shoes, one black, one white, to match with all our outfits.
Oh, so you weren't even able to color code. It was either black or white sneakers?
Sneakers, yeah. I mean, I feel like sometimes we
sense.
did deviate to like, oh, this one has a little bit of pink in it or whatever. But he was just like, get a white pair, get a black pair so it can match all your clothes. So yeah, I used to love it. And then we come home, and then my mom would be home, and then we do a fashion show for her. Oh. So I kind of wanted to do that with Alana.
So that's
too,
where the girls get it from.
Yeah, they love a fashion show.
Yeah, we had the kids together the other day, and we went to the Discovery Museum.
Mm-hmm.
What I don't remember what town that's in.
Acton.
Mm-hmm. And the kids had a great time. It was such a great time. It was just nonstop running after the kids, but there were so many rooms for them to flow into, so we knew they were in a safe place. We were doing a fashion show on the lawn. It was cute. I love when the kids do that.
Oh, I know. They're adorable. So we wanted to have that experience with her. So she starts next week. Just a lot of emotion. She's very excited. She's going to ride the bus. So I'm like half freaking out, half not. Yeah. I know. Thankfully, they pick her up right there. But then I'm like, I'm not going to be able to go to the school the first day. But apparently, even if you do parent drop off, you can't go into the school anyway. It's like they grab your kid and go in. You just have to wait for an hour.
So for me, it was different. When I was a kid, when I got dropped off at school, the parents could walk into the lobby.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, but here, no.
Yeah, I don't know why that is. I'd like to know if you know, and you're in the comments, you know why, if you're a parent and you know why they can't do that anymore, the kids, that they can't get in the building with the kids.
It's probably too many parents, too much coddling. Then it's like, when are they going to start the day if half the parents are there in people's face,
What about the school bell?
Do you think parents care about that, Vlad?
I would hope so. I would parents have somewhere to go.
I would hope so too, but you know how some parents are.
Well, listen,
so I get it. It's like somebody had to have messed it up for someone, I feel like, Well,
that's why we have and had the school bell. And this is why you have that bell right there. Hit that subscribe button right now. Put it right there. Let's go.
Tell your friends to tell a friend.
Yeah, we got to smash that subscribe button so we can get this content out to the people who need to hear it. Yeah. For us, it was more or less the same thing, except we weren't given as much freedom on the shoes, right? So I think we had maybe 1 or 2 pairs of shoes. We were a Payless family. And at one point I told my mom, hey, listen, I can't get beat up because you want to take me and buy some Shaqs, okay? At some point, but no shade to Shaqs because he made great sneakers at affordable prices. I ain't hating on my man. Ain't nobody shooting anyone over some Shaqs.
Well, and I feel like that's the other thing too, because my dad always told us that we're first class. So they always had to be Nike or Reebok.
Oh,
like
okay.
my dad's like that. He's very into name brands. Like it has to be this. I really think he had undiagnosed OCD because he, again, very meticulous how he dressed. His socks had to be in a certain place. Like it was always white undershirts, underwear, socks. Like he's very like, this is how it is. So I feel
that
like
may be a generational thing too.
Yeah. Again, OAD, old as daddy. That's how they act. He's 86. So
yeah, because my father-in-law, he's always, no matter what, we could be sleeping if we ever stay over at my wife's parents' house, this dude is always up, fully dressed like he's about to go out to work.
There's no staying in
7 o'clock.
There's no staying in your pajamas and chilling.
Yeah, well, I'm like, well, they were looking at us like we were crazy, and they're like, "Why aren't you dressed yet?" And we're like,
"Cause I'm hanging out.
And our son is up, spitting up like." That's a generational thing.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, he was just very meticulous, and it was like, okay, get this. So yeah, that's how we rode. But they're excited, and yeah, it's just a lot of feelings, a lot of newness coming with the school year for us.
Yeah,
a lot of firsts.
Yeah, I feel like with everything, it's a transition for the child and a double transition for us. We spend so much time trying to mend the transition for our children, and our children are a lot more resilient than we are. We're
That's
actually
so true.
He's starting a new daycare, and he's going into the preschool room.
Yeah.
And Julie's like, "Oh my gosh, it's so much transition. Oh, what are we gonna do? We got to do this and make it intentional."
And he's chilling.
I said, "Listen, sweetheart, he will be fine. He just needs one day, and if he likes the people, then he'll be fine. If he don't like the people, then he'll still be fine.
Especially if he's comfortable,
Yeah. So a lot of transitions happening in the household now. But I'm glad that we're talking about going back to school. Like I said, there was nothing special about going back to school for us. We go to AJ Wright and it was done. If you know AJ Wright. Shout out to all my folks in the trap shopping at AJ Wright every year.
Does that still exist?
No. It was too good to last, okay?
Oh, man.
AJ Wright had name brands that were not sold, that were still on the shelves at these.
Oh, kind of like TJ Maxx?
Kind of like TJ Maxx before TJ Maxx was. Like, it was a lot more affordable than TJ Maxx. TJ Maxx to us was like shopping at Old Navy.
Gotcha.
Right?
Gotcha.
So, anywho, but I'm glad we're talking about this because today we're talking about something very important. And that is, how do we prepare our children for a world in this education system, right? Our kids are in preschool. Alana's in kindergarten now. How do we prepare them for a world that may or may not be as receptive for them? And before anybody jumps down our throat, understand that if you don't have the experience of being othered or treated differently in the school system, and you need to check your privilege at the door.
Yeah.
Because there are very different experiences for children who look like ours. And I'm going to get into that in a little bit about our experiences with racism, prejudice in the school system. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Vlad the Bull, your #1 Embrace coach. Now, you know what the movement's been for the last 3 years. The Embrace Method 2nd edition, my book, is now on sale on embracemethod.com, on Amazon, and anywhere that you can get your books. So make sure that you go to the embracemethod.com and get yourself this leverage. Get yourself this information that'll help you turn your trauma and pain to the life of your dreams. Let's go. So I want to ask you, Angie, when did your parents talk to you about racism? There's always two talks. There's always the sex talk, and then there's the racism talk. There's the world is not going to be kind to you talk, and it comes differently depending on where your parents came from and how long they've been in the country. When and how was that talk suited to you, and how did it shape the way that you started understanding your scholastic environment?
To me, it wasn't, or my mom, it was, and my dad, I guess a little bit, but not really, more so my mom. It wasn't so much about like racism and colorism. It was more so like, you're an immigrant and you're going to have to do extra. One, because I was learning the language when I was young. So when I was Alana's age, I was learning English. Like I hadn't started school yet. So I was like learning English, trying to, I guess, figure out like we're new to this country and all that. So it was just like, you have to like do extra, keep your head down, work hard, because they're going to think of you a certain way. But again, not necessarily like the race part, just about like because we were new to this country type thing.
Right.
So I was like, I always have to be like the best at everything. Like I have to, work twice as hard to get half as far. And yeah, I feel like it's a lot of pressure as a kid, but I'm glad that conversation was had, because I did feel like I had to do more, and not necessarily because of what I looked like, because I'm very, light skinned. I'm more, in my café con leche, I'm more leche than café.
Yeah.
So I do have that privilege of being lighter in the world we live in. But more so, like, I'm still Hernandez. Like, I'm Angelica Hernandez when I was in school. So like right there, people judge you by your last name. It's like, oh, another immigrant. She might not speak English, and sometimes I used to get that, like, wow, you speak very well. And I'm like, I've only been here since I was 6. You don't have an accent.
I used to hate when people told me that. I had a boss that told me that one time. So I was interviewing to wash dishes. Okay, washing dishes, Angie, and I was like maybe 16 or so, and this dude was like, we had a couple of phone interviews and they went well. Then he asked me for an in-person interview. Did the in-person interview, and one of the first things that came out of his mouth is, "Wow, you're so well spoken." And I thought, thank you. I appreciate that. I do pride myself in having a fully fledged vocabulary.
Right, well, we've been talking since I was 2 years old.
Right, and so then we start talking, and then we're talking about dishes, and like, what was your experience with supervision? Wow, you're really well spoken. And he said it again, and by the 5th time, I'm like, why does this guy keep telling me that I'm well spoken? I heard you the first time, and then I remembered, and then I thought about it, and I was like, oh, that's what you were saying. You were saying I was well spoken, and you were surprised because on the phone you probably didn't think I was black. And
Vladimir, he Russian.
Right, Vladimir Lusant. He probably doesn't even know where Lusant comes from, but he didn't think I was black because, of course, you got a code switch.
Yeah.
And so I was probably on the phone just like this. You might not know who I am. And I was like, whoa, this is what my parents were talking about.
Yeah.
So
how did that conversation go in your house, being a black man? Or I don't know if Haitians consider themselves black. I know Dominicans like to pretend they're not. Me no black, me Dominican.
Me no black.
Because I feel like in the Caribbean, it's more so like colorism versus like black. There's no what's going on in the United States, right? It's more so class and colorism versus just kind of like what it is here.
Yeah, you can't exactly call it racism because we're all the same race. Haiti and Dominican Republic, we're both African.
Yeah, so it's more
classism.
Yeah.
Classism based upon, structured on color.
Yeah.
So my mom always told me, and my dad to a lesser extent also told me, the world is not going to be kind to you. It was a much harsher conversation, and not to scare me, not to intimidate me, not to discourage me, but just to prepare me.
Right.
And it was a dual layer. My mom used to say, your parents are immigrants. We're not from here. And on top of that, you're black. And so that's going to be 2 reasons why you don't fit in. And in my mind, I'm like, wait a minute. Most of everybody, I grew up in Cambridge. Everybody around me is a melting pot. Everybody kind of looks a little different, and everyone's from somewhere else.
So you step out of Cambridge.
When you step out of Cambridge. But guess what? My parents were right, because I didn't even have to go out of Cambridge to realize that. And we'll talk about maybe our experiences in a little bit, but that was the talk. And I always identify primarily with my Haitian heritage.
Right.
I am a first generation Haitian American. I was born in America, so I'm an American. But before I learned how to speak English, before I even heard the English language, my mom was speaking to me in Creole. My dad was speaking Creole around me. The people around me primarily spoke Haitian Creole. I didn't know how to listen to anything else other than Creole for the first few months of my life. Now, was there English around me? Sure. You grow up in America, you're going to be able to speak the language fluently, more fluently than my parents did.
Right.
But I identify with that primarily. So even that created a different reality for me. But it didn't really hit me until I got maybe a little bit into grade school after kindergarten. Because, of course, back then, everybody's just whatever. And kids don't know how to be racist. They don't know how to be they don't have any built-in biases or prejudices.
Yeah, it's taught.
It's taught. And so that brings me to my next question. When was your first experience with prejudice or racism, and how did that affect you?
Probably in elementary school. And again, because the way that I look, there were some girls speaking about me in Spanish. So it was like reverse. Speaking about me in Spanish like I wasn't going to understand.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. And you know me. I'm going to let it ride till I don't.
Right.
So then, I was like, in Spanish, I was like, oh, what are you guys talking about? And then they were kind of like, oh, like she speaks Spanish.
So what were they saying about you?
Oh, that I think I'm all that. That I think I'm so smart. Because I've always been very confident. Again, my dad told me that I was first class.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always like, oh, she thinks she's this. I don't think that I know it. The facts are there, but it's like jealousy, right? But yeah, that pretty much is. So then after that, I was like, oh, she speaks Spanish, and eventually we did become friends later on. But in that moment, I was just like, well, dang. But again, because I went out of my way to be the best, if people were racist because I was Latina, I didn't. I had the racism or like the prejudice from my own people.
Were they? Can I ask you this? Were they darker than you?
Oh yeah, they were Mexican. Yeah.
Ah, okay. Mm-hmm. So like they were maybe around Julie's complexion.
Yeah.
My wife's complexion.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So and that's the amazing thing about imperialism, colonialism, and we live in a time right now where the administration is trying to whitewash history in this country as if none of these things exist, and it's too bad because when we fail to learn from history, we're not only doomed to repeat it, but we don't even understand the implications that it has on everybody within our sphere of influence. And something that is synonymous across Latin America and all the countries that experience colonialism is colorism.
Yep.
And so where one may argue institutionalized racism and systemic racism exists in this country. In other countries, that the long-term implications of chattel slavery still exist, right? So you've got a system. How is it that Haiti never knew what Jim Crow was or what the Civil Rights Act was? We just got our independence from the French. However, the colorism, the structure, was built during slavery, chattel slavery, in Santo Domingo. And so if you were lighter, you were seen as more favorable. If you were darker, you were seen as less favorable, more expendable, right? And it's just too bad. It is too bad because that same thing exists within every community. So I remember when I was a kid, I was one of those kids that kind of took a long time to come into my own.
Okay.
But all the girls liked the light-skinned black dudes. They didn't really like the black-skinned black dudes. And you had to go out of your way to be super extra dextra confident and fly with all the name brands in order for you to be seen that way. So yeah, I think it hurts more, to your point, when it's your own people.
Oh, for sure. Because it's like, I'm cool. Why are you hating? And it wasn't even for a reason that I intentionally did, which I think is what hurts the most when you do experience that, because you're like, there's nothing that I can do about this. Like, in my case, I'm not going to stop being excellent and dim my light because you feel like you can't do that, but yeah.
So was there ever a point, so that's an example of people who were, for lack of a better term, they were your people, they were Latina. Were you ever, what was your first experience where you were treated differently because of where you came from or because of your race? Can you even recall a time when that happened?
I cannot recall a time.
Really?
I cannot.
See, I find that fascinating.
Yeah, I can't. And maybe I've blocked it out. Because I don't remember a lot from being younger. Like, I should call Emmy, because Emmy remembers everything.
Right.
I remember some things, but she remembers everything. What I was wearing, probably. She's really good at that. But yeah, I can't recall. No.
Well, I'd say that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Right. And whether
hashtag I know it's a privilege. Yeah. I know that.
So I remember I was in third grade when I actually found out what my mom and my dad were telling me was true.
Right.
So in Cambridge, we had almost every school had a multilingual program. depending on where in the school is located. So there were, I don't know how many middle schools were in your neighborhood. In smaller towns and communities like the one that we live in now, there's only one middle school.
Oh, that's like where I grew up.
One elementary school. And
there's like 3 or 4 elementary schools, 1 middle school, 1 high school.
Yeah, we had like 10 elementary schools.
Yeah,
it was ridiculous. And Cambridge is only 6 miles long. It's not even that deep. Okay. Dang. We had like 10 elementary schools, all right? You had the Harrington, the Kennedy, the Longfellow, the Agassiz, the Haggerty, dude, it's like, what do you need so many schools for? What the hell,
Vlad? And you know all their names.
Yeah, and you know everybody. Yo, dude, it's crazy. And so at our school, we had the OLA program. And the OLA program was to help the large, predominantly Portuguese and Brazilian population that was housed in the East Cambridge sector of Cambridge assimilate, because their kids, a lot of the kids were immigrants themselves. And the OLA program was just an ESL program for those who spoke Portuguese, who could, and they wouldn't take class. They'd only have gym with us.
Okay.
They'd have lunch with us, but all of their social studies, their math classes, everything else was separate. And so because we weren't integrated perhaps in the classrooms together, I think that actually worked against us in terms of integrating with them. And so we had gym with the OLA kids, as we used to call them.
The OLA kids.
The OLA kids. And there was this one kid, his name was Allison, and I'll never forget this dude. He always came to school. We're talking about 3rd grade, okay? You should be focusing on Pogs and Jacks and Pokemon. This dude always came to school. He was lighter skinned. Like, he was really like almost like your complexion, just maybe like even a little whiter.
Okay.
And he had jet black hair, and it was always slicked back. And I was like, oh God, you're one of those dudes. And you're in 3rd grade. You don't even know how you could be one of those dudes. Somebody's making you one of those dudes.
Yeah, facts.
And I can't remember exactly what ticked him off so much, but one day he just, I don't know, we were in gym class, we were having interactions, and me and my boy David, Sarah David St. Germain, is my best friend. Still best friends. We've been friends for 30 years.
A long time.
30 years, yeah. So he was in 3rd grade with me in that gym class, and this kid Allison walks up to us, and he just calls us Negroes. And that's the first time I ever heard that word.
Like Negroes.
Negroes, not the, but he called us Negroes.
But still.
But it was.
That's like calling someone colored, I feel like. Like, what old school person is teaching him that?
Well, exactly. I'm like, we don't get taught this stuff in school, right? And so he was like, you Negroes. And we're like, you can't call us that. And I don't know if it's the first time or the second time, but I'm like, you can't call us that. You can't talk to me that way. And then we kept having these interactions, these run-ins with these kids, and they would click up on us, and they would call us Negroes, and they would call it. There was one time I remember Allison was saying, "You black family, you come from a black family, you black family, you black family," and I'm like, "Yo, bro, what's your problem?"
Whoa.
So this is where it gets interesting, right? So that's one instance of this kid's treating me differently because of what I look like and where I may come from. So then me and David got fed up, and we went to the principal's office.
Okay.
And we went to the principal's office. We told the man, God rest his soul, Mr. Figueiredo, who you could probably guess was either Brazilian or Portuguese.
Yeah.
And we told him, hey, Mr. Figueiredo, we've been experiencing this in school. These kids are treating us unfairly. They're calling us names. Could you do something about it? And he said, oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, it's all right. I'll talk to you. But pacified us. We went to that classroom, Angie. I mean, we went to that office probably, and I'm being modest, probably 4 or 5 times.
Oh, my God.
And the reason why we kept coming back is because nothing ever was done until we just stopped going. And we just started taking things in our own hands.
Did you ever tell, like, your parents?
Of course I did. But my parents didn't have time to come to the school and do all that. And also, think about it this way. 2 Haitian immigrant parents are going to come to the school where they know that the principal's not listening, right? They don't really want no trouble. And that's the thing. Immigrants don't really want no smoke. We just want to come here and work.
Keep your head down, go to school, work, make your grades.
And that's why they have that talk with you. So you normalize the maltreatment, knowing that you have to work twice as hard, you have to keep your bound, and you have to have a higher level of nerves than necessary. Now, this kid, if I were to turn around and do the same thing to him, like, bro, we were out. The other thing is we're outnumbered. This OLA program, sure, but this OLA program is prestiged. Yeah. It is held highly. It's highly valued in this school. And everybody around us is Portuguese. So, not everybody, but like predominantly, right? And so I remember thinking to myself, this is always probably going to happen to me. And it doesn't make a difference whether or not I complain.
Right.
And I wish that, that was 27 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I wish that I could tell you that I feel confidently in this day and age that we didn't have to have that conversation with my son.
Yeah.
Or with our girls.
Oh, facts. Yeah. Because the conversation wasn't had with me, but best believe that we have to have them with the girls. I know that I'm raising 2 black queens, black girls, black girl magic.
Mm-hmm.
So it's important to have those conversations because I want them to have the tools and the savvy to navigate those waters. I don't want to just leave them out there in the lurch. They're going to be like, oh, no one ever talked to me about that.
Right.
And that's not fair to them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about this, right? How do we do that? How do we bridge that conversation in an age-appropriate way where, because they're, as you know, our kids, as they've gotten older, we're watching them grow up before our very eyes, and they become more and more perceptive. And children are more perceptive, Angie, than we give them credit for.
Oh, my gosh, yes. And they don't forget anything.
You know what? Lito called my bluff yesterday. I didn't even tell you this. Okay, so he's been doing this. He's been doing this spitting thing where he spits and just nothing. It was just a phase, and nothing could get through to him. He just swat us alive at you. Even the school's complaining about it. So then I'd pretend to be a ghost by putting my shirt over my head, and I'd say, every time you spit, the spit ghost is gonna come, and then he gets scared to death, like, Dada, spit ghost. And so then I'd just walk out of his line of vision, and I'd take my shirt off, and I'd walk around like, Lito, what happened? And he's like, the spit ghost, a ghost. I was like, oh, did you spit against? Yes. I was like, anyway. So yesterday I did that, and I was just pretending to be a ghost, not because he was spitting, but because whatever. And I was pretending to be a ghost, and then I ducked beneath the table, put my shirt down, and I came back up. I'm like, what happened? And then you know what he did? He was like, he put his shirt over his face. He's like, now I'm a ghost. Ooh. And then he turned it down. He's like, what happened? I was like,
ooh. Gotcha.
Oh boy, this kid is smart, boy. So anyway, these kids are so smart. They see so much that we don't realize, and they hear so much that we don't realize. So it is extra important, vitally important, that we arm them with empathy, with acceptance, with an understanding of the world around them. And oftentimes, and I've seen this more so with white people, but I'm sure it happens in other races. Oftentimes we tell our kids not to see color, not to see, you don't let anybody tell you you're black or you're Latino or anything. You're just who you are. Yeah. But these kids don't understand the nuances of identity. So they're going to be, hey, mommy, why does Lito look different than I do? Why does... And
they're gonna.
They're going to do that.
Yeah.
So how do we have that conversation?
Yeah, I think when kids are that young, it's like, example, what we do with Alana is we have a lot of like positive affirmations for herself. So she has like this strong sense of worth, like self-worth. So we say it in Spanish, but pretty much like before we started doing this when she was little, she'd go to school and tell her teacher like, oh, I'm so cute. Like, oh, I'm so beautiful. And I'm like, well, Alana, before you're beautiful, you're also strong and you're brave, right?
Yes.
Like those things first, then obviously beauty. Beauty is important.
Yeah.
But now she has like her affirmations. So she says, yo soy fuerte, which is strong, inteligente, which is smart, strong, smart, then linda y hermosa, so she's beautiful and gorgeous.
I love that, man.
Valiente, so brave, valiente, dulce, sweet, and then yo puedo, like I can do it. And
Did you get that from Canticos?
From Canticos?
Yeah. Because they
maybe
they
the yo puedo, the yo puedo,
yeah.
But then while it's at it, and we tell the truth. So, and then she'll go, and we tell the truth. But yeah, so she says that in Spanish, and it's like anytime that she thinks that she can't do something, I'm like, okay, well, what are you? I'm like, ¿qué tú eres? And she's like, soy fuerte. And she has her little hand motion, inteligente, linda y hermosa, valiente, dulce, and she goes through the whole thing. But it's like she has that in her, and it's like, you come from greatness. Like, you're this beautiful person. You're a brave person, like all these things. And like, so whenever things might happen, she knows that she can go back to that and like, no, I can do this. Like, I'm going to overcome this. But as far as like introducing like racism and stuff, I think that young, it's more so like talking about fairness, because they get fairness. Like they understand what's right, what's wrong, what's fair, not fair. Sure. So it's like some people might treat you unfairly because you look a certain way. versus, introducing like people are racist. And she's gonna be like, what's racism?
Right.
Then it's like this whole thing. And I don't want her to think that everyone is racist. Like I also don't want that mentality.
Yeah.
But I want her to know that people might be unfair because of, and then have those conversations and tell me so I can go knock somebody out. You don't got to do that because I will.
Yeah, I know you will.
And that's like, Vlad, I feel like that my anxiety, and I know it's not going to, it might happen, but I don't think it's more susceptible to happen where we used to live, because in New Hampshire, where I used to live,
Criminy Christ,
yes. So I was heavily involved in the NAACP when I lived up in New Hampshire, and we had so many cases of, especially in like Dover, of teachers. One teacher cut a lock off a child's hair, like right off their head. She cut a lock. So when that happened,
so did somebody ask her to do that?
No, she just did it. Yes. But there's no reason why you should ever do it. I don't care. Right. So when that happened and like our NAACP president was getting involved and all that, I told Wallace, I'm like, Wallace, we can't live in New Hampshire. I'm going to go to jail if we ever have kids. This was way before Lana was even thought of or whatever. I was like, we can't do that.
It's like, we can't.
No, we cannot.
Let's get it together.
No. So yeah, so I feel like the conversations have to be had to protect our kids from, not even protect them because it might happen, but just for them to have the tools and know that it could be something that happens. It'd be a disservice to them for them to just think like the world is la la la, and then it happens. I feel like it's going to be more crushing versus them knowing that it's a possibility and that it exists, and then them not being ready for it.
I like how you frame it around fairness, which is age appropriate,
yes.
Right? Putting it in terms that kids can understand, because kids are not gonna understand the implications of racism, what racism is, the history of racism, the components of racism. They're not gonna understand colorism. Like all of that is quite complex because it's not easily understood, and it still, honestly, it makes historical sense. But I don't know why, if life is so short, we're treating people differently based on what they look like, because we all have the same issues physiologically anyway, and everybody has pain. Everybody experiences trauma, loss, happiness, pleasure, sadness, all that stuff. So I like how you frame that around fairness. In terms of talking to your kids, preparing them in an age-appropriate way, let's look at the future a little bit. Say Alana comes to you and she says, Mommy, somebody called me a Negro today.
Oh, we're having a conference at that school immediately.
Right.
And I think in the moment when she brings me that, and I'll probably ask her like, well, what do you think that means? Like, like, how did that make you feel? Like, why are you telling me? Obviously, I want her to tell me, but it's like, what made you come and tell me? Like, how did that make you feel? See what she says, like, and then just explain to her, like, well, where you come from. You come from greatness. Our people are beautiful. You are an amazing girl, and everything else. And then immediately go have a conference at that school.
Yes.
And I'm the type of person too. And again, I don't know if this is right or wrong. This is my first time dealing with public school, but I would be the one to call a conference with the teacher, and then who is this kid? And their parents need to be present as well, because I need to know if this is the things that you're teaching your kids at home. And what are we going to do moving forward? Because that cannot happen again.
Yeah. I mean, I think
That's
about,
tough.
Yeah, it is tough. And as a parent, learning how to keep your nerve in that situation.
And because at this point we have a lot to lose. I say like, oh, I'll go to jail, but no, I'm not. I can't go to jail, Vlad.
Right.
I can't react.
Go to jail.
I can't react the way I want to.
But I can't go to jail.
No, I can't. No, not like in real life. I'm not going to jail, but
right.
I would want to do things that would put me in jail.
I don't listen. We're raising our son in Townsend, and this is what, again, it sucks. And I know there are people who think that people of color are often looking for a reason to bring race into the conversation. We're actually looking for reasons not to. We're looking for a way not to. If it were up to me, we wouldn't be having this conversation. We'd be doing this episode on something else. And it sucks that. So I came in as we started getting older, and obviously Julie and I would think about kids. I'm like, I don't want to raise my kids I'm gonna keep it a stack here. I'm like, I don't want to raise my kids in Dorchester. I want to raise my kids in Roxbury.
Yeah.
Because that's what my parents taught me were dangerous. I never went to Dorchester or Roxbury until I was an adult. I was dead scared. People always getting shot over there. I want to get shot at. People got shot in Cambridge too, but whatever, at a lesser extent. But I didn't want to raise my kids there, and I didn't want to raise my kids there. I didn't want my son dodging bullets on his way to school, catching strays on his porch, and things like that. So then we did well. We sowed our oats. We came here. We bought a house in a nice neighborhood, a suburban neighborhood, somewhere I never thought I'd live, but I'm glad to live here. It's peaceful, where I can have a peace of mind. I have time and room to think, and I don't have to worry about that element. I've never lived somewhere where I didn't have to worry about locking my doors.
Yeah.
But if you come to my door thinking it's not locked, I'll find you.
It's locked.
It's locked. And even if it's not locked, just because Daddy ain't playing that. No. But I wish I could I wish I didn't have to choose between raising my son around more people that looked like him and a higher crime rate.
Yeah.
And it's not to say that all black people live in high crime cities, because that's not the truth. As a matter of fact, right now in this country, the administration has got boots to the ground in D.C., convinced that there are higher rates of crime and incidences of crime in D.C. I'm not saying D.C. doesn't have their own issues,
right?
But the justification behind having these armed troops who are not, and let me tell you something, troops, people are like, oh, they're protecting the city and they're bringing the crime down. People who are in the Army are not trained in patrol procedures. People who are in the Army are not trained to deal with the general public. They are trained mission focused. They have missions, parameters, and all that other stuff. They are not the same. Police, domestic police, and armed forces are not the same. Anyway, I just have to say that. But the crime is actually higher in a lot of these other red states. Right?
Oh, for sure.
And states like Mississippi and Tennessee. But there's always this picture being painted that black crime is higher in black neighborhoods. Well, it's because black people live with black people.
I was going to say white crime is higher in white neighborhoods too. Latino crime is higher in Latino neighborhoods too. People do crime against each other. Hello.
Yeah. Like, if I want to kill somebody, am I going to drive 17 cities over to kill somebody? Probably not. I'm more likely to have beef with somebody. And if that's my prerogative, I'm more likely to have beef with somebody and get into an altercation with someone who's down the street from me or who's down the block or who's within striking distance. Let's make it make sense. But anyway, I wish I didn't have to choose between those two. And in Massachusetts, as you know, dude, there's not a lot of options for you. It's either you go somewhere where the sirens are always going, or but people look like you, or you go elsewhere where people don't look like you. You have to worry about your kids being called the N-word.
And I think that's probably a little bit as to why we live where we live, because I didn't want Alana to be somewhere where she's the only. And I mean, the schools are still better than anywhere in Florida because it's Massachusetts.
Right.
But we're also working with her at home. So the school, and I feel like the teachers too, like, again, Alana got her teacher assignment and her teacher's this older black woman. I'm not going to say the teacher's name because I don't want y'all to know where my baby go to school. But,
right.
But she is an older black woman, and I found a picture of her. I didn't even know that she was an older black woman. I just got her name in an email. I looked her up in like the school Facebook or whatever. I just put like the name in the school or whatever. And then when I saw who it was, I was like, Alana, this is your teacher. First thing Alana said out of her mouth, she's brown like me, mama. And I was like, she is brown like you, baby. And she's like, is her hair like mine? I was like, I don't know, but we're going to find out. Like, she was so excited. And there's people that have never had a black teacher, Vlad. You know?
I didn't have my first black teacher until 6th grade. I've seen there was one other black teacher in
the other black
grades.
Teacher at the school.
The other black teacher at the school. No, for real. Oh my gosh, I think there was 3. There was Mrs. Nikita Lamour. There was that lady that had the short hair, and then there was Mrs. Hester. Shout out to all them beautiful black queens. But Mrs. Hester, I didn't have her until I was in 6th grade, and I didn't have another black teacher until I was a freshman in high school. And I didn't have another black teacher since.
See, and I think, again, it depends where you live. So I grew up in a town that's predominantly Mexican and black. So my first black teacher was in 2nd grade. You know? But that's what I saw.
I wonder, too, though. I wonder if it's because Cambridge is not short. One of the highest Haitian populations in the United States is in Massachusetts. And Cambridge had so much that we had so many Haitians in Cambridge that one of those many elementary schools had an ESL program specifically for Haitian American.
I saw that online. That's cool.
That's still there?
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. I haven't checked it in a long time. Shoot. Well, that's what's up.
So is it because they didn't go back and like come back to Cambridge when you guys left? And like, why, if it's such a high concentration of Haitians, where they're not Haitian teachers?
I think back then, most of the Haitian families were first generation Haitian families. These are immigrants who just came back. Now, it might look different now. There might be far more Haitian American teachers there now, but back then, nobody was really, and my family had been here for decades at that point by the time I was going to elementary school and high school. But again, very different time, different information. So that's kind of the experience, right, that we have. And that battle that we have as parents in trying to raise our kids in the world to treat, where we're teaching them to treat everyone fairly, even if they aren't treated fairly from the onset. It sucks. But how then are we exposing our children in the absence of being around other black and brown kids? Obviously, our kids are growing up like family together. Our consorption, we have a growing.
We're growing.
We have such a growing village here.
I love it.
That we're gonna, if anybody else comes in, we're gonna have to start making applications and handing them out because we've just got a beautiful village, and I feel like everybody that we intentionally bring in.
And I think that's what's important when you live somewhere that doesn't look like what you have at home.
Right.
You have to be intentional about building that village so your kids do have like kids that look like them and other parents that kind of like help with the village and the raising and the rearing and all that. Because a lot of the times too, like as the kids get older, they're not going to want to tell us parents things. But if we have good influence around, they will go to Titi Julie, to Theo Vlad and say that something's going on or whatever. And it's just like more resources to help with that. So it's definitely important. But I was looking up like how to deal with an incident at school because we were talking about that. So one is stay calm, LOL. And
easiest than
number one, stay calm, gather the facts. I agree, because you also don't want to be hot-headed. And again, I say this because it hasn't happened, but I'm sweating.
You're sweating. Angie's sweating. All right. So my friend Raina, we call her Raina, went to college with her. She's the mother of my godson.
Okay, nice.
And she was an RA. I just have to say this. She was an RA.
Shout out RAs. I was an RA too.
Oh, you an RA too?
Yeah, student housing, baby.
You and Raina need to meet each other, man. This is crazy. So she was an RA, and then one time it was Thirsty Thursday. You already know what time it is. And kids were just screaming. Dudes were screaming. Women were screaming, just being stupid. And this is one girl who's screaming, Christina, Christina. And then Raina opens the door. She's like, Christina! Yeah, somebody's looking for you. Somebody's looking for you. And another time, she came out swinging a toaster. No, not a toaster, a clock. She was, I think it was like a clock with a cord. She was like swinging that clock.
Like
I'm going to clock somebody. You don't want to be that parent, right?
No.
Walk around swinging clocks.
Well, because then that'll be your reputation. That'll, like no one wants to work with you because now you're the crazy parent. I mean, justified. Right. Like, let's not try to downplay the situation. But number one, stay calm. Number two, role play the situation at home. So it's like, get the facts, right? Like, okay, tell me exactly what happened, because something that one of my friends is going through right now at school is her child came home and was like, oh, my teacher's yelling at me or yelling at the kids in the class. And is it like, is she really yelling, or you've never had someone talk to you that stern before? So it's like they're new to school, like, get the facts, right? So it's like meet with the teacher, role play at home, try to figure out what what happened, the situation. Then partner with the teachers early. So let's be proactive, right? Let them know who your child is and what matters to you. So like if this happens, expect me to be here. Right. Expect a conference with the teacher, with the other student. Like, we're going to nip this right now, because it might be an isolated incident. Maybe they have great parents and the child heard it from someone else and came and, get the facts. And then teach children to speak up and come to you. So in that situation, again, because we're being proactive and we're giving our child, the tools to maybe handle the situation on their own. If they call me, that's like, you don't tell me who I am. I know who I am. Right. Like something like that. Right. So it's like they're also handling it on their own and telling you so you can go do everything else. So we can't bubble wrap our babies, but we can give them the armor made of truth, culture, and confidence.
I mean, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. And we're actually experiencing that at our daycare.
Yeah.
Like I told you. And at first, when I started getting incident reports, boys are more physical. My son has a lot of energy, like his daddy.
Yep.
And we just chalked it up to new environment, new school, whatever. We're not going to, because it's very easy as a parent to say, well, you're singling my kid out, because you don't know if anybody else's kids are getting written up either.
Exactly.
So that's why I didn't want to jump to conclusions, because I assume, I've taught myself to assume that somebody's got a problem with my character before they got a problem with the way I look, despite what those experiences are, because that always gives me an opportunity to grow and do something differently.
Right.
But then the incident reports started piling in, and I mean piling in like every single day. We're getting incident reports. Lito spitting, Lito's hitting, Lito's pushing, Lito. The child was visibly upset. The children are never injured, right? And I'm going in and I'm dropping them off, and I'm seeing kids getting like doing crazy, you know what I'm saying? Like doing some crazy shit. And I'm like, yo, why aren't you writing him up? Again, I don't know. But then when we're looking at all of these incident reports, we ended up having a conference with this teacher, and Jules is a social worker, so she brought that social worker heat up in there.
Yep, all the terminology and everything.
Yeah, yo, you cannot mess with my wife when it comes to school and advocacy. She will crush you if you don't know your stuff.
That's a Fulbright scholar.
Yo,
okay,
that is a Fulbright scholar. You call her FB. No, I'm very proud of my wife, man. She's a queen. So check this out. My wife asked her, instead of punishing him or telling him that it's yucky and writing him up, we need to be understanding the function of his behavior. The operative word is function. What is he trying to do? Because children are at that age, at 2 and 3 years old, are not doing things maliciously. They understand cause and effect to a limited degree. But if he's spitting, it's either an absence of language that he doesn't have, or there's something that he's trying to communicate, an emotion. Have you tried to understand the function of his behavior before you started writing him up? Because we thought we're just getting piles up so they can have a track record, so that when it gets time to kick him out, we can say, well, we have documentation of your son being aggressive. And when I heard that word,
it took you back.
I was ready to pounce. When you talk about keep your head, Angie, I was ready to go in there. It was not Mr. Lusant. It was Trooper Lusant. I was ready to knife hand. I was ready to, and I realized that my energy was starting to shift. And maybe my son was starting to realize that. I became much more closed off to these people, much shorter in my interactions with them. I was not, like, I'm the type of dude, and you know this about me, I'm the type of dude, I love everybody. God, I love everybody. But once I don't like you, I can't go back.
Yep. That's
just how I am. I cannot go back. And I never did. But after that meeting, all the documentation went away. He didn't get written up once more.
Of course not.
And so I'm like, is it because we made you feel stupid? Because we realized how incompetent you guys are? Or because, and I want to walk that back. They're not stupid. They're not incompetent. They're just ill-equipped.
Yes.
And many schools are ill-equipped for kids who have higher sensory needs, higher needs, or just needs that are different in general. Because their solution was, well, we just need to get him diagnosed so that he can get an IEP. That way he can get in accommodations. And I'm like, all I want you to do is to give my son his chew toy that you already approved for him to have that's been in his bag for 4 months. And now you're telling me you're afraid of choking him. Why would you let it in the building if you thought it was a choking hazard? Why did you give it to him before if you thought it was a choking hazard? You know what I mean? So they're just not equipped. And we know that boys are more likely to be diagnosed, overdiagnosed. They overrepresent ADHD diagnoses. Why? Because, you're not sitting still. You're not cleaning up. You're not doing this. You're not doing that in the order that we want you to do. That's what they expect kids to do. You're not in a box. You expect a 3-year-old to get up and just be a robot? Not my boy.
No, and that's the thing. It's like, okay, are all of your 2 or 3-year-olds in that room acting the same? And is that what you're expecting them to do? Or are they just doing normal 2 and 3-year-old behavior? Like, I'm sure that he's not the only kid doing all those things.
Angie, I got an incident report that Lito threw a chair. And then maybe the next week, I saw a kid, his white counterpart, not that it has anything to do with it. He threw the chair, looked at the teacher. She's like, don't do that. And then he took it and he threw it again. And she's like, no. So I'm like, yo, first of all, if I want my son to stop doing something, I'm not going to make it sound like we're playing.
Right. We're going to get on his level, look him in the eye and be like, don't do that again.
You get on his level, you look him in the eye. That's exactly what you do. Because they need to understand in as little words as possible.
Yep.
What you need them to do. Now, that is yucky. That's so bad. And every time I do that, my son starts crying, laughing because he thinks it's silly.
And he probably thought it was silly when she did it to him.
Right. And she did.
Be for real.
Like, come
Be
on.
for real.
It's silly. But then that's my problem, right? And so that's when we come back around to how our children are being prepared for this world. I felt that my son, and whether my feelings were right or wrong in that moment, I felt like my son was being targeted or being mistreated and mislabeled as aggressive and as assertive and as unruly and untamed because he's the only black boy in his classroom. Yeah. And so that might not always be the case, but that's my first inclination to think. Yeah,
and that's the thing. So he's the only black boy in his class, and not saying that the teachers are racist or whatever, but they have an unconscious bias. We all do. Everybody has like their own biases.
Oh, don't say that. Don't say that. Don't say that.
Why not?
Don't say that.
Oh, people aren't?
Oh no! Because people will tell you that no such thing exists. We used to have implicit bias trainings at the state police, and I remember I came and there were so many dudes, so many troopers moaning and groaning in the back. Like, why do we even have to be?
Oh, I know the required training that you need though. Because it happens. Yeah. So it's like, again, the teachers in this particular daycare.
Yikes.
It's big yikes. Right. But it's, again, subconsciously is like what they're doing. Because I'm sure that in that place, they don't have any kind of training to navigate having different kinds of children in their class. They're just used to what they're used to. Right. Because they're not used to what they're not used to. And how do you know what you don't know? You know what I mean? I feel like that's what's needed. It's like this sweep of just in case, here's this training or here are the tools, because then things like this happen. We're trying to avoid that, right? This is the world that we're trying to fix for our kids. So why not?
Yeah. And I just got to say, what I love about us as people, because we're so outgoing, is that we don't stick to just people that look like us.
Right.
One of my best friends throughout high school, and I don't know, one of my best friends throughout elementary school in addition to Dave, because sometimes you got like best friends for third grade and then fourth grade somebody else.
Yeah,
but from like fifth grade all the way up until like maybe eighth grade or so, or like for like a couple grades, whatever. One of my best friends was white, and he's Italian and I think Irish. And I went to his house. He was one of the only houses, and get this. Again, we're talking about implicit bias and how it affects generations of descendants of slavery and imperialism. David was my best friend. David is Haitian. His parents speak the same language that my parents speak, but I was not allowed to go to his house because he lived in a bad neighborhood, even though his bad neighborhood was across the street. So I'm like, how much worse could it be right there if we were over here? Right? But check this out. The only 2 times I got to have a play date or go to my friend's house happened to be when those friends were white. And these are my parents who hold the keys to me going and having time with my friends. And the only friends that let me hang out with at their home happened to be white. And so I didn't even realize this until the other day. I'm like, oh, shoot. It is psychological. And I want somebody to tell me that racism, prejudice, colorism is not systemic. They don't even know what they're doing. Yeah. My parents never said, we don't want you to go to David's house because David's neighborhood is black and black people aren't good, even though Haitians will tell you that. They just never said it. They never said why I can go to Nathaniel's house or Tony's house and not David's house.
That's wild.
Yeah.
But yeah, literally that's how Latinos are too. Black American people, they're going to jail. Don't go hang out. Don't go hang out.
Yo, remind the people what your parents or your dad thought about Wallace.
Oh yeah, my dad Wallace is a Black American, Black, as I like to say, no sauce. Like, he's not Caribbean. People swear that he's Haitian. I'm like, no, he's not Haitian.
You got Bayou sauce.
He's just Black, no sauce, right? But yeah, that's what my dad said when he found out Wallace was Black American. He's going to have you on food stamps. He's going to have you on welfare. And I came here and I didn't get any government assistance, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, oh my gosh, please stop.
Yeah.
And then he said something like the most backward ass compliment. Then he started to get to know Wallace, and Wallace liked boxing, and my dad liked boxing, blah blah. So then he's like, oh yeah, Wallace is a good dude. He's only Black on the outside.
Oh my Lord. Oh my Lord. Wait.
Yeah, he's only Black on the outside because he's a good guy. So on the inside he's not. It's only on the outside.
What was he on the inside then?
I guess a good guy, not Black American, because they're terrible.
So wait, all right. So he's Black on the outside, but on the inside, is he Latino or is he white or is he like a mixture?
He's a good guy.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, like you said, ingrained. It's wild.
It is wild. You know, I never told you this, but I remember back in, like early in my college career, there were a couple of, I've always had a type. I've always been into Latino women.
Yeah, we know that.
Yeah. It should come as no surprise.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. But so in that talk, we talked about in an earlier episode about when you're talking to somebody, you're not exactly dating.
Yeah, right.
And so one of the things that I heard, I dated a girl in college, and we had to keep our relationship a secret. And I'm like, what are we, in the 1950s or something?
Oh, crap.
What is this? And she said, well, and I asked him, like, why? I'm not used to being kept a secret. I don't like that. And high school's different. Your parents don't want you dating. But we grown. We paying for our education, so you can't tell me we got to keep something a secret. And she said, well, I know that you're a good guy. And this is what she told me. She's like, I know that you're a good guy, but my parents will automatically judge you because you're Black. Mind you.
And where was she from?
Her family's from El Salvador. And here's the kicker.
Uh-oh.
Another woman from, again, her family's from Central America, I believe. Same thing. We started talking. We like each other. We've established that. But I can't tell my family about you. I'm like, here we go again, because you're Black. And they're going to think that you are some sort of hoodlum or something. Then I dated another girl. Then I started talking to another Spanish girl. The same thing.
It's funny that there was a pattern, but you're like, I'm not giving up.
I'm not giving up. Bro, I had 4 secret closet relationships with Latin women until I met my wife. And here's the kicker. My wife is adopted by white people.
Yep.
And they are the first people that didn't say, oh, I don't really want you dating my daughter because you're Black. Imagine that. And I love my in-laws. Like, my father is, I call him Pop, my father-in-law. That's my dude. And I'm like, ooh, we got something there.
We have a long way to go, guys.
Damn.
Yeah.
But, there's just so much we could unpack in that. But anyway, the point is, if we don't teach our children to other people, then they're not going to do so.
That's right.
If racism and colorism came to a grinding halt because the world had a global consciousness and said, we are going to teach our children to love and accept everybody, and we're going to watch our language, we're going to check our implicit biases at the door, and we're going to do enough work so that when our children are coming up, they don't get any sense that we should be treating anybody any differently based on what they look like, where they're from, what language they speak, or whatsoever, it wouldn't be a problem. The reason why it still exists is because hatred, bigotry still exists, and it refuses to die because people keep teaching it.
Exactly.
And so if we don't teach our kids how to have a consciousness where they understand who they are, they're proud of who they are, and they love who they are, they love where their cultural roots stem from, and they love themselves, their gifts, their talents, and the things that God has invested in them, and they love everybody else, and they love to love those, and they look to learn and love and appreciate those things in everybody else, bro, we'll be straight.
No, facts. Cultural confidence, it's not pride, it's a shield. It's like, it's going to protect our kids from feeling that whatever people do say, because people will say things, but it's not going to affect them as much because they already know who they are, and they know that they come from greatness, and they know that their people are powerful, and they know that they're strong and brave and kind and all the things, that all the affirmations that we are teaching them. But it's important for them to have like that self-awareness and that self-confidence to go out into the world, and it's our job to teach them.
Yeah, it is. It is. And I love that in our village, all of our kids, we have like a spectrum, a rainbow spectrum, right? We just got kids of all different types. And that's the other thing too, right? Like my son comes from a blended family that is blended 3 times.
Yeah.
Like my son is Haitian, is a second generation Haitian American, second generation Salvadoran American. His cousins are black, his cousins are black. Some of his cousins are white. All of his cousins are Hispanic, but some are Hispanic and black. Some are Hispanic and white. They all look differently. Their hair is different.
His grandparents are white.
His grandparents are white. So how do we not have a conversation about the differences between the people that are in your family? We can honor those differences without making them seem like there's something other than.
Exactly.
They're just beautiful within themselves, and they can blend. This is literally proof that it can blend. Alana, your girls are from a blended family. Different.
They're first generation.
They're first generation.
They
y'all.
are. Wow. I always thought I was first gen, but no, I'm the immigrant. My daughters are first gen.
Yeah, that's actually that's damn. Yeah. And I'm actually the first generation because I was the only person in my immediate family, my parents and my brother, who was born here. And so I'm like, damn, that's kind of crazy. And but guess what? It shouldn't matter.
It shouldn't matter.
It shouldn't matter. And I hope for a world in which it doesn't matter anymore. I hope that we get to live to see that. And whether we do or not, let's plant the seeds.
Yeah. Well, conversations like this, I feel like help fix, right? Like this is like our little, ripple in the pool of change that we're doing. We're trying to make the world better for our kids. And I think this is a good start. I feel like we're doing it.
It is.
Our community's doing it.
Our village is doing it. Our community's doing it. And please, listen, we covered some heavy things today. I love this conversation because I feel like it's kingdom building. I feel like we crushed a lot of things. But if there's something we missed, please get in the comment section and let us know.
Let us know anything that either struck a nerve or that we could do better at. Again, we're unlearning things. So keep the conversation going.
Or if there are experiences that you have that you want to share, we want to learn from you, right? Because we know that we're not in silos. Right. A lot of our experiences may be different, like yours and mine may be, but maybe you have some that maybe you have a similar experience, maybe you have a different experience, maybe you have another perspective that you can bring to this topic. We want to hear from you. As you know, Roots and Rhythm pod@gmail.com. Hit us up and please like
share
and
message do all the things
and subscribe, please. We're trying to blow this thing up, bro. We're trying to get up, blow it up. Okay?
And thank you for checking out our affiliate links. People have been buying things.
So thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you.
So make sure you check out the affiliate links. Listen, the times are hard. Save some money. All right. As always, we're here to have those conversations one story at a time, exploring the rhythms of life. It's your boy Vlad the Bull, your #1 embrace coach.
And Angie, let's have it, mommy.
We are out of here.
Stay rooted.
Stay rooted.